Hello everyone, namaskar everyone. Welcome to part 2 of empty houses. What I mentioned in the previous video, when you have an empty house, so for example, this is empty house. There is no house that is truly empty because the house itself is bringing influences based on the sign that is in that house, or as we call in Sanskrit and Vedic astrology, or in Jyotish, we call it Rashi. So for example, if we were to look at their 11th house, we see that it's quote unquote an empty house. So what can we say about this house on a basic level? Aries is there. Whenever they're social networking, whenever they're dealing with large non-profit organizations or large organizations dealing with hundreds of people or thousands of people or millions of people, naturally it activates their brain. There's many other things apart from those things, but those are just like some nuggets about where Aries is. It activates their brain. It gets their synapses activated and going. It's where they find their individuality. Those moments where you feel like you're alive because you're doing something, you feel like everything is perfect, you feel like you're doing something that it's not necessarily something that you love, it's almost like you just feel like it's giving you so much energy. Right there is where Aries is, and that's where it's doing that in this house. So it doesn't have a planet. So now we need to evaluate and understand. Now, I don't recommend doing this on your own because you need to have the basic of everything in order to do this on your own. But you're going through this with me to give you a better understanding of empty houses and how empty houses impact a house despite not having a planet. So Aries is associated with Mars, right? Mars rules Aries, but Mars rules more than one sign. The only planets that rule one sign is Sun and Moon. That is being Sun Leo and Moon Cancer. Apart from them, all the other planets, they have two ruling signs. For Aries, the planet or graha, as in planet in Sanskrit we call it graha, that rules Aries is Scorpio, is the other Rashi that Mars rules. Based on the planet, not only the planet, but also based on the Rashi associated with that planet, those things are brought to the house where the 11th house is, where Aries is. So that being here, in the 6th house, we have Mars and Scorpio. So everything associated with this house is now being brought to the 11th house. So now we have their chart. Now I can draw in it just to kind of give you guys a direction. So we have here the 11th house, right? That's kind of bad. The 11th house. Oops. So everything associated in this house is now being brought over to the 11th house because Mars rules Aries and Scorpio, and Mars is here and Scorpio is here. So what do we know about this house? 6th house is the house of many different things, but to make my point, okay, this client of mine and student, she creates CMOS. She has a CMOS business, and she creates the CMOS in such a way where she infuses it with different flavors like strawberries or blueberries or many different kind of flavors. And as a result, I guess there's a thing where CMOS where people don't really like the flavor, and the flavor is nasty, but the way she makes it, it's almost like candy basically. She makes it sweet and she makes it tasty with these infused flavors. Because of this, she has a lot of people like coworkers, friends, acquaintances that wants to buy her CMOS jars. She sells them in jars, but she is encountering an issue. Before I dive into the issue, we can see why she's into the CMOS business on a basic level. on a basic level. Okay, and it's actually really funny because the 11th house is known as the house of the result of your karma. So like the result of the things that you're here to do in this life. Because in the 10th house is your career, it's your duty, it's what you're here to fulfill in society. The 11th house is the house known for recognition and promotions and rewards. All of your wish, dreams, and desires are in that house. So it's funny because she's in the CMOS business, and Scorpio being in the house where Mars is all in. Scorpio is originally coming from the 8th house. The 8th house is known as what? It is the deepest, darkest, the deepest water sign. It is of deep waters. That's why it's associated with things like occult and mysticism and like science and surgery, right? It's something you have to cut into in order to operate. That's the reason why Scorpio is known as the most karmic sign. Again, everyone has Scorpio. As you can see, there's 12 houses and 12 zodiac signs here. So it's not something where some people have it and some people don't. It's more based on where is it placed and what's in it. But apart from that, it is deep waters. So things where you need to do research, right? She has done the research in order to find out how. She brought the research aspect of being in isolation, doing the research, and bringing it to the 6th house where Scorpio now resides along with Mars. So now Mars shows me their strength, energy, and passion. Where do they get their strength, energy, and passion from? Whenever they're doing deep research into finding own ways to improve people's health, or people who are underprivileged, or people who may be sick or ill or have a disease. Why? Because the 6th house where here and Mars is in, the 6th house is known as the house of many different things. As I always say, many different things, but I don't want you to just only think that it's these few I mentioned, but it is the house of illnesses and diseases. So the dive and deep research that she has done here in order to improve people's health and diseases and illnesses has been brought here to the 11th house where she tends to feel alive. So now this is where we make the connection. The more she networks, the more she puts herself out there in front of more and more people about what she does, and get rid of that, of her financial blueprint, and replace it with something that's more healthy, that makes her feel like wanting to share this with everyone, the more money she's going to make. Because again, this is wishes, dreams, and desires. One of the wishes and desires that many people have is to have money, right? That's the whole point of why they're doing career, doing the duty, and doing things in society. So there's this concept in Jyotish and Vedic astrology called the Bhavat Bhavam, which means the relationship between the houses. And so although different houses has different relationships, individual relationships, so like for example, you have the Kendra houses, right? It's the 4 pillars. You have Dharma houses, Dharma, all of these different things. It's much more complex than this, but again, I can talk a lot and I might get off topic, but the main thing is that even if your house does not have a planet in it, does not mean things are not going on in that house. I understand from a Western astrology perspective, where everything, they make it really simplified and like try to make it digestible for everyone, but in that where it gets misleading, because you're not getting accurate information about your chart. You're just finding a ton of opinions online in order to describe what they were fed, basically. And you can't just watch a few YouTube videos or read a book and then be like, okay, yeah, I know astrology. Like, it's much more than that. There is the basics where you need to know the different karmas of the houses, the different houses, the relationships between each other, how they're influencing each other, the conjunctions and aspects, and the strength of the houses and nakshatras and the degrees and so many different things, the genders, the qualities, the elements, the gunas, and the kind of karma a person is here to spend or gain. Ultimately, this is one example. So this can be applied to any other house. So I'm not going to do another example because then the video is going to be really long. But even like, right, even Venus being here, the things that they do for Dharma, they get this result of the 11th house is not only wishes, dreams, and desires, it's all liquid gains. So it's another reason why I mentioned above concept, because she's doing what she's doing here as work. But you see this here, this is Pisces, meaning that she's bound to work in private. When she does her jars and stuff, at the moment she's not doing it in the kitchen yet, but even in the kitchen she's doing it by herself. She doesn't have a team, she doesn't have like someone to help her. Yeah, she may get the sea moss imported by a family friend, but again, what does that mean? Pisces is also overseas. So she's getting it imported from Jamaica, so import and export, and she's beautifying something that's really nasty, Venus, making it tasty and delicious. Venus is known as the one that brings people back to life. So instead of eating something nasty that feels like it's killing you, it's literally bring you back to life because it tastes like you're eating candy. And as a result, she's getting all of her wish, dreams, and desires fulfilled here, whatever that may be in the 11th house. I'm going to go over that now, by bringing these things to the 11th house. So if you don't know anything about Vedic astrology, this may seem a bit confusing to you, but the link is in the description. If you don't know, if you just want to know more about yourself and to be able to know where you need to put your energy in order to manifest whatever you want in this life, link in the description. Link will be also in the comment. Link will be here, and comment down below on what you want me to speak more about as per, you know, a chart, Vedic astrology chart, or just astrology. And if you guys ever want me to use you as an example for my videos, then you're more than welcome to book a reading with me, and we can discuss about that further, about what I can mention or what I can't mention in a video about you, or what you want me to go over, or just use you as an example for anything I want, basically. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Namaskar.